a very recent graduate, class of 2019. Ezra Ruggles is here with us, and this is exciting because Ezra not only is a great Saratoga runner, but he's also just started his collegiate career at Geneseo, which is my alma mater, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. How he's being coached by a couple former teammates of mine and two of my very best friends. So it's pretty exciting to see his career continue. Ezra, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think what you're doing is like really inspiring and motivating, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way because that's pretty much everything that I do in my life for most people. So
For me, yeah.
at least for you, yeah.
Yeah.
You're an easy audience.
People look up to you.
All right, so let's get started with talking about high school. I mean, you haven't been too far removed from it, but you want to share with some of your highlights and maybe some of your favorite memories from your high school career at Saratoga?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it like a step farther, and I'm gonna go back to middle school because one
Okay.
of my favorite memories is from middle school. So it was indoor, my seventh grade year, and I was running the mile, and so was Anthony and Bryce,
Yeah,
and yeah, and the previous heat before us,
I know I know what you're talking
you were
about.
upset with them, and you weren't in the best of moods. But then me and my two teammates stepped on the track, and we just had a lot of fun with that race, and we pulled off a crazy PR. Me and Anthony ran 5:01, and then Bryce was short behind with like a 5:03 or 5:02.
Yeah. So
And yeah,
here, let me provide a little context with that because that is a strong memory. So most people, I mean, if you've run in Section 2, you know that the indoor tracks around here are the worst.
oh yeah,
So running a 5:01 at Albany is a pretty nice accomplishment, especially for a middle school guy.
hmm
Because the track is a square, it's very slow, and that's the way
yeah,
all the tracks are around here. So in the previous heat, some of our varsity or maybe upper level JV type guys had run a mile, and I say run and not raced because it just was a frustrating endeavor to watch the way they competed or lack thereof. And then you and Anthony and Bryce step on the line. You guys are like half the size of everybody else out there,
hmm
and you just like
you're
went
tiny.
for it. Just a great race, huge PRs, completely not intimidated at all by the people around you. And I, instead of really congratulating you, I felt like I went to the older guys and was like, "Did you see that? Did you see that? They just ran you guys off the track."
Yeah, I love that memory. I think about it once in a while. It makes me laugh because
It is. Well,
it's great.
in the moment, I wasn't laughing, but when I think back on it, it's a
That's
funny
good.
memory for sure.
And there's like a little bit of like spice or like controversy with that
Yeah.
race because me and Anthony came in at the same time, so we
Ah,
don't know who won because there's no photo finish at U Albany.
no, especially in like the fourth
Only,
heat of the 1600
oh yeah.
at the
So
TCITL meets.
you have like footage from Bryce's mom, Mrs. North, but
Okay.
how the weird angle is like with the balcony, how you
Yeah.
all set up. So it's just like you can't tell anything. Like you can't see who won. And we would watch it and we'd like put in slow-mo
Yeah.
and freeze frames and like try to zoom in. We never knew.
I feel like you would have had to get Anthony on the lean because Anthony is probably the skinniest seventh grader that ever lived when he was running in that race.
Yeah.
So there's no way he could have outleaned you because I think
Well,
he weighed
he was
64
taller though. He
pounds.
was taller. He could have.
Yeah, he was taller, I
But no, but
guess.
we all know I won. Yeah, we won. I won. It was me.
Awesome. Well, that's a classic. How about some other memories that you've got or highlights that you've got?
Yeah. So relays. I really like the relays
Yeah.
that I ran in high school. Especially DMR. I loved running that. We went to New Balance, and that team that we won with Shea Will Baker, TJ Bradley, and Peter Mahler. That was a great memory for me.
Yeah, you guys set the meet record at the New Balance games, qualified
Yeah,
for nationals. I think it
yeah,
was
that
like
was great.
the third or fourth fastest time in the country when you ran it, which was pretty cool too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting because I was running the 1200 leg, and no one knows how to run that. That was tough. And then I obviously have the call out the state title that we
Yeah.
won last year in the 4x8.
Yeah, that's very up there for me. When you guys won the 4x8 indoors, 2019. Talk a little bit about that race, and I want to talk about it too.
Well, it was weird because I was anchor, so I saw the previous legs beforehand.
Sure.
And just knowing, like, just seeing how, like, we were just in the lead the whole time, like we were in that pack, like we were just always in the race.
Yeah.
So, leading up to my leg, I was just extremely nervous. And then when I got the baton, I kind of just bolt out of the gate. I just started going.
Yeah.
And I ran a fast split, like fast 200 split. It was crazy for a 4x8 for the anchor. Kind of slowed down a little bit, but I remember closing in like the last lap, and you were on the back stretch on the other.
So I stand about 100 meters to go, maybe on the back stretch of the indoor track. Yeah.
And it was funny because you were screaming at me and you were saying that they were coming after me, and I was scared because like I was really not feeling it, and I'm like pumping my arms and I'm getting tired, I'm tightening up, and I was running scared at that point. And I remember finishing and looking behind, and they weren't as close as I thought. So I was really mad at you because I was really hurting after that. I was just,
first of all, it's an amazing accomplishment because it's the first time, only time that Saratoga boys have won a state championship in a relay. For all the accomplishment of the program, it's the only state championship in a relay, which is pretty cool. But it was, there was probably about 3 or 4 teams that were kind of about the same coming in, maybe 1 or 2 seconds apart in terms of seed times. So it definitely kind of was anybody's race. And we had run, like, each of you guys had run separately well enough to make us believe we could win. Like, you never got it right on the same day. Like when we ran at Milrose, a couple people ran good splits and a couple people didn't. When we ran at Utica, which was a pretty good invitational, a couple people ran good splits, a couple people didn't. You had been running really strong throughout the whole year, but we had a lot of ups and downs with getting everybody on the same page. But that race, like you said, you guys were in it the whole time and progressing pretty well. So, like, Noah led off, ran a strong leg. Peter ran a strong leg, and I think Peter got that nice wake-up call 2 laps into it when the kid from Shen passed him, and he was like, I can't let that happen. Right, and then Peter picked it up and finished really strong and got us back in the lead. Postal weight pretty much held the lead the whole time. And then, when you ran, you were the most reliable guy out of everybody on that relay, that year. But I was just so nervous because – you had a lot of big kickers trying to chase you down, which was also nerve-wracking because you're more of a 1,600 guy coming down to the 800, and a couple of the teams had like 400 guys that were coming up. And I was nervous about the finishing lap. But I've never, ever been so nervous during a race. And not because I didn't think you were going to do well, but I don't know what it was. I was just like overcome with like nerves to the point where I would yell at you when you would come around, and I actually would turn my back to the track. I couldn't even watch like the majority of the lap. And then I would turn around again, just like praying that you would still be in the lead and you'd be again. And I would be like, oh my God. So I'd be yelling at you when you'd come around. But that was so cool. You guys won the state championship, ran at nationals the next week. So that was a great highlight. Anything else you want to add in on that, or any other memories for that matter?
I think those are like my top tier ones.
Yeah. I think of, I always smile, and I think of the summer leading into your sophomore year, which was kind of the time where you made the jump from being like a talented guy on the team. You've always been a great competitor. You always were up for races. And then practice wasn't always your thing for a while. It wasn't that you were lazy or anything like that, but you weren't always there when I was hoping you'd be there, which is sometimes typical for younger guys, but you were very talented. So I was like, we need to get this guy on the program here. But then that summer leading into 10th grade, I don't know what it was, but you like committed yourself to the summer training, and you rode your bike in from Wilton to the
Oh
state park
yeah,
almost every day.
forgot I did
And
that.
you put in this big summer, and then we run our first meet of the year. And I think you were like the fifth or sixth guy. And I wasn't really expecting that. I don't know if anybody was. I don't even know if you were. And from that meet on, that whole year, 2016, this is fall of 2016, you were in the top 7, usually ranged somewhere between our 4th and 7th man, depending on who was having what kind of day.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were an excellent team that year. I still think we were the best team in the state that year.
Hmm.
And we were ranked number 1 going into the state meet, but didn't finish the year as strongly as we should have. And I learned a lot that year. But I mean, you were a huge part of that team, and then that kind of vaulted you into being one of the better runners in Section 2, your junior and senior year. And the other memory that I wanted to talk about with you was your senior year sectionals. I wanted to talk a little bit about that meet, cross
Oh,
country, or sorry, senior year outdoor track, when we had you double
oh,
so both your junior year and your senior year, we had you double steeplechase 3,200. So you let off the meet in the steeple, and then a couple hours go by, and then you run the 3,200. It's an absolutely grueling double.
yeah.
And I was hesitant to put you in that double your junior year because you were a junior and I didn't know how strong you were. And steeple was sort of a new event for you, and you really didn't like it very much.
No, not at the time. No.
um, and you ran well, right? Like I can't even remember how you placed in each event, but you scored in both events.
Yeah, Declan was also in the steeple, and
Oh,
he
so
took.
Declan won,
Yeah, he
and you were
won,
maybe
and
like
then
what, third or fourth?
yeah, I think I was fourth or yeah, somewhere around there. But I
And
know
then
I scored in both, and then I got 1 point in the.
yeah, you came back in the 32, and it was like a death march, and you like kicked it in for sixth place,
Yeah,
which was awesome because
yeah,
the whole
that is.
thing was I believe that Ezra could score in both events. That was my argument with the coaching, my argument to the coaching staff, and they
Mhm.
believed that you could do that too. But then your senior year, I fully expected you to win the steeplechase and then be probably second in the 2 mile with Shay,
Mhm.
um, which was a really tall order because there was a good kid from Shen who was in the steeple with you, and the two of you guys battled,
Yeah, that was
and you
crazy.
ran what, a 30-second PR
Yeah,
about.
so it's something crazy like
I
that.
think your PR was 9:55 and you ran 9:26
Yeah,
or 9:27, and you outkicked the Shen kid. You guys both hit the super standard for states.
yeah.
And then, I mean, you jogged off the track like you had just done like a workout.
Mhm.
And you came on the infield and we were chatting a little bit, and you were like, 2 mile is not a problem. Like you were confident.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
no,
know
I
if
was
you
amped
felt
up.
that way, but you were confident, and I didn't know if you were going to feel that good, but I knew you were going to be fine in the 2 mile, in the sense that I knew that you and Shay could control the race and make it the way you wanted it.
Mhm.
So that race was cool. That race was really cool. And I kind of want to get your perspective on it because it's really what won the meet, that event, the 3,200. So
Oh
as the
yeah.
meet is progressing, we had an early lead on Shen, and then they kind of come storming back in the middle of events. And going into the 2 mile, we're down to them. And there's only a couple of events left. There's a 4x4, the pentathlon, which we knew would be strong in the pentathlon,
Mhm.
and maybe a couple field events had to come in. So we're looking at the 3,200, and we've got 3 guys for Saratoga, right?
Yeah,
You and Shay. Shay's the number 1 seed, sub-9 guy.
yeah.
So everybody knows that he's going to be really almost impossible to beat. And then we have a freshman, Ryan Bush,
Mhm.
who at the time I think his PR was like 9:49 or something. So we used a wild card on Ryan.
Mhm.
And then Shen had 3 guys, and 6 guys score. So it could really have gone either way for that event. So can you just, I don't know how well you remember that race or the way it went, but can you kind of explain sort of how it played out and what you were thinking as the race progressed, and then what you were thinking at the end?
Yeah, so leading up into the 2 mile, me and Shay were talking about it and just talking about over like tactics and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I was feeling pretty good. Like I set up my legs up and I like got, stuff just recovering and getting ready for it. And so when we stepped on the line, we knew we were just gonna have to like play the field,
Yeah.
like, do what we have to do and just respond like as well as we can in the moment. So going in, like we did that, and then like in the middle laps, I remember like Bush was still with us. Like
Yeah.
Bush was having a day, Ryan.
Yeah.
And I remember like coming down the stretch and people are cheering and they're like cheering for us, but they're really just cheering for Ryan because Ryan is just going ham. And I like that was motivating to me. And
Right.
then seeing Shay up there, and I'm like, we're gonna do this. Like,
Yeah.
got this. So then I remember like pulling back a little bit to like give like Ryan some help.
Okay.
So like just to tug him along, and it was just so the power, like the atmosphere,
Yeah.
that race particularly was just amazing. And then I remember coming through the line, and Bush was right behind me, and we went 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. So you scored 24 points, and the Shen guys didn't get anything in that event, and so that was a huge momentum swing for us. And I think Ryan ran 940 or maybe 941, which was a really big PR for him. And everybody was together at the mile. You guys came through the mile in like maybe 4:55, or maybe even 5 flat. I don't even know. It was slow for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then you and Shay just turned up the heat. And really, Ryan was the only one who responded to you guys.
Yeah.
And I remember yelling at you guys, "There's blood in the water," something really cheesy like that. But I think it got you kind of fired up, and you guys sort of took off. And I thought Ryan was actually kicking a lap early. I thought he miscounted his laps because he was pushing so hard from 600 out. But it ended up being a great move for him because he pretty much ran the kick off of everybody else. So
Yeah.
that was incredible. Really exciting moment
What was,
to.
what was that saying that you said?
I
I'm
thought
trying
I
to
said
remember.
something like "there's blood in the water" or
There's
"they're
blood
they're,
in
they're
the
all
water.
dying" or something like that. I
Yeah.
definitely got my emotions were definitely taken over.
Yeah. That's
But
great.
either way, you guys responded. So I whatever I said, it didn't hurt you at least.
No. Oh, that's great.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about college. I mean, your college experience is short and cut even shorter by this
Yeah.
thing that we're in right now. But in the short period of time, you've had some cool experiences and a lot of success. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, I run at Geneseo, SUNY Geneseo, Blue Knights. Um, yeah. But I didn't really think much going into it. I was just gonna just put in the work and like see what happens. And the amount of success that I've had with that program, it's just a perfect fit for me.
Yeah,
Um, you know, um, getting like awards, athlete of the week, and just rookie of the year and stuff like that. It's just like really cool. Um, I take pride in it. It's just like something I've been working for, and then the guys there, just the whole team is pretty cool.
yeah,
They're a bunch of weird guys, so like
sure.
I fit in right. like a puzzle piece. I'm perfect.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So
Well, so you're being humble, which is fine, but Ezra was, SUNYAC cross country rookie of the year. You were the top finishing freshman in the Atlantic region, which is pretty significant. You ran at NCAA championships with the team, and you guys finished seventh, eighth. Where'd you guys finish as a team?
um, yeah, seventh, I think.
And that was with your top runner who probably was a top 10 finisher having a bad day and wasn't where
Yeah,
he would have
he
been. And
lost his shoe
yeah,
in the
yeah.
mud. Brutal.
But you guys have a great group of guys coming back. Like you said, a really tight knit, hardworking group. And you guys are capable of probably being a podium team next fall as well. But then you rolled right into indoor track. You qualified for nationals in the DMR. You're running the mile leg for the team. Ran 4:15. I think you ran 4:12 in the DMR though, right? Is that right?
4:11. I
4:11
just
on the
lived
DMR,
4:11.
which is a huge PR.
Yeah.
I mean, you ran 4:20 in high school, which is a
Uh,
great high school time. But
yeah.
you dropped 9 seconds in 6 months in the mile. That's fantastic. And you would have run at nationals. You were literally at the NCAA championship. I think you were probably getting ready to do your warm up. By the
Yeah,
time yeah,
we were like we just got back from like pre-meet or like
yeah,
yeah, we were just at the track. We got back. We went for a walk,
Yep.
and then we just got a call, and it was like, oh, it's canceled. So it was within 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah. You were at the meet. You were ready to rock in the DMR, coming up soon. But you were the SUNYAC Indoor Rookie of the Year. You were a SUNYAC champ in the mile. Led that race pretty much wire to wire, which is pretty cool. And you guys won that championship. So, yeah, I mean, you've transitioned to college extremely well. Can you talk a little bit maybe about some of the similarities either in the culture or the relationships you have with your teammates from high school to college that maybe has helped you transition so well?
Yeah, it's very similar. I
Right.
would say. There's not much like differences between the two. Like the mileage for me is like pretty much the same. I picked it up a little bit, but like not too much.
Hmm.
And then just the support from both teams are very similar. Like I get along just as well with the college guys as if it was my high school guys. So that's very similar. And it's just I got guys ahead of me that I'm always trying to work with. So like they're pulling me up as like it's just an endless support system. So like if I push the guy behind me, then he pushed the guy behind him, and it just keeps pulling people forward. And I think that's very similar to high school, where how Saratoga was. So
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. I mean, I'm glad that that's something that I would say I value very much in our program. I'm glad that you recognize it, and I'm glad that you're experiencing it at Geneseo, because there's a lot of sort of cliches that get caught up in coaching, but when you say like every guy on the team matters and people actually believe that every guy on the team matters, it does make a big difference. It matters when the last guy pushes the second to last guy and everyone is constantly trying to work their way up and challenge each other, but in a way that's not necessarily competing with your teammates, but you're all doing it in the name of the success of your team and the success of your program. You've always been somebody who really understands their role on the team. And you've always been much more motivated to run for the team. And something that I've noticed that works in the opposite direction, something that kind of will take the wind out of your sails is when you have teammates that sometimes aren't in the way you want them to be. You really build off of your teammates, and when you sense like that your boys are in it with you, you really get up for things, which is good. That's the kind of teammates that you want to have. And if you guys all build off each other, which was the case often in high school and is definitely the case in college for you, I think you're going to continue having a lot of success, which is really fun to watch because, I love seeing Geneseo succeed. Coach Dan Moore and Coach Chris Popovich do an excellent job with the program. And those are guys that I consider them to be mentors, but I also consider them to be two of my very best friends. They both were at my wedding and, we talk a lot, and I try to send them athletes that I feel fit the program. So you and Peter are there. Travis had a great career there. Travis Briggs, who we're talking to later tonight. And I'm working on, some of our current athletes now that I think would fit in there well, because I know they're going to be in good hands. So, I think that's a great place to go to get better, for life as well. So have you thought about much beyond college? I know that, there's not too much to talk about in that department right now, but anything that you're thinking about or goals beyond running?
I don't know. It's still far away. I think I'm a biology major, so just going to graduate school. I'm looking into like physical therapy.
Right.
So that's my plan right now, but that can definitely change. I have a lot of time between now and then, so I haven't really thought much about it.
Have you set any sort of running goals for yourself long term or, within the next year or so? Or do you just kind of let that happen as it happens?
Yeah, right now it's just like take every day like
Right.
separately. I'm just trying to do what I can now, and then we'll have to test it when things start to get like really serious.
Yeah. I mean, if you want me to set some goals for you, I think you probably be a cross country All-American coming up this fall. I think that would be a nice accomplishment. I'd be very proud of that if you could pull it off. Get the team on the podium again for cross country. you
Oh yeah,
know,
no, that, yeah,
may-
definitely the team, like just continuing our dominance, I would say.
yeah,
Uh,
I mean, well, it's certainly dominance within the culture, within the conference, and the region. You guys are always one of the top teams,
mhm.
and keeping yourselves in the top 5 to 10 teams nationally every year is an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, so just keeping that up, I think is always there. Like it's
Sweet,
always in the back of my head, you know.
yeah, yeah. All right, so what type of advice would you have for guys who are on the team now? I mean, a lot of them are good friends of yours because they're only a year or two younger than you, and you spent a lot of time with them.
Mhm.
So I'm sure they'll be happy to hear from you. It could either be advice like in this coronavirus break where I can't have practice, so I'm posting everything online and sending out remind texts and all that stuff, or it could just be, bigger picture on how to sort of reach your goals and help the team to be successful, things like that.
Yeah, so if you guys are struggling with like workouts or motivation, one thing that I think is really hard is starting. You know, if you just get out the door, like that's the biggest move. I mean, personally for me, like once I get out the door, I can't turn around. I have to finish.
Right.
So you just get out the door, and then something that really helped me during this time is getting a routine down. I think what this pandemic has done is like strip that away from you.
Mhm.
People were like waking up at 6:30 for school and then doing practice right after school, and going home, eating, and then doing homework or whatever you do, and then going back to sleep and repeating that 5 times like a week. I think is just, you don't have that anymore. So setting a routine for yourself, setting a good sleep schedule is definitely crucial for for your success in this off season. Don't I don't recommend getting a lot of sleep. That's another thing that you can.
Too much. You don't need 18 hours a day.
Yeah, no 18 hours, not even 10 or 11. You just need 8 to 9. Go to bed
Yep.
at the same time
Get
every
your
day.
standard 8. You'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, just get that routine down, and then just set a time for you to run. And when that time comes, just give that day your best, and just try to keep repeating that until we see an outcome.
Yeah, no, I think that's the way to do it though, because if you start to think about this, there's not a lot of light at the end of the tunnel in the sense that we don't know exactly when this is going to
Yeah.
end and when we can get back to our regular life. So you do have to take it one day at a time because it is overwhelming to think about, how much longer do I have to do this on my own? But if you just focus on the one day, the one workout, the one practice, whatever it is, and just making the most of that and doing that to the best of your ability, you just make every day good, and you make every day as good as you can, and then that's going to take care of itself over time. And you just focus on making small victories and small goals, small accomplishments, and that's going to get you where you want to be eventually. But it is hard. It can be hard to keep the motivation going. um I don't know if you have a good answer for this, but can you talk a little bit about the way you approach racing? I mean, I think you're one of the unique guys over the years who really loves to race,
Yeah.
loves to compete,
Mhm.
and you're not usually someone who, I mean, you don't like to lose, but you know when you've gone for it and you've given that maximum effort, and that usually is enough for you to kind of walk off the track satisfied, even if it wasn't the exact result,
Mhm.
because you understand like what it takes to empty the tank and to compete with people. So can you just talk a little bit about the way you approach racing?
Yeah. So, like you said, I just like racing.
Yeah,
That's what this whole like sport. I just love that part.
yeah,
I like practices too, but I mainly do it for the races. And then, um, yeah, like you said, I like winning. You run to win. I
yeah,
run to win. So,
right.
um, even if I don't pull off the win, I know that I put my best foot forward. Then I'm happy with it. But leading up into the race, I'm not really intimidated by anyone. Like some people, some some people, like I know, like I'm friends with. I remember in high school I was friends with some of them. Like I know like where their fitness is at, but I'm not really scared, I would
Right.
say.
Yeah.
And, I think I could do what would be enough to, put a good performance out. And if that gets me the win, that's cool. And then, if I get a PR, that's really cool as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's really all you can ask for, because not every time are you going to be in a situation where, you're going to necessarily be the best guy on the track that day, but something that you can control and something that can be consistent is, your belief in yourself,
Yeah.
and the way you go about competing, the way you go about attacking a race, and trying to win. There's a huge difference between, losing but trying to win, and losing and never getting in it, right? So like, you're somebody who I cannot think of a lot of times over the course of a 6-year career in high school where you didn't, give it your best shot out there, which is pretty cool. Um, Anything else to add, or is that about it for you?
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Grandy asked you, your favorite workout
Yes.
as a runner versus your favorite workout as a coach.
Yep.
Well, I would like to ask, what is like your most rewarding part of being a coach? Like,
The most
what
rewarding
really?
part? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the relationships are great. I mean, the way I can talk to you, and I haven't seen you in like a month or so. I mean, we ran into each other at the park like one of the first days, but we can pick up on these conversations as if we've been kind of hanging out every day talking. I mean, I value those relationships very much, and I enjoy like the day-to-day routine of getting to know people, and things like that. So it's really rewarding to me um, when I get to reconnect with people, after they've graduated, because it is hard. I mean, it's hard when people leave, when you're used to spending, 3 hours a day with them, probably 345 out of 365 days a year. We're probably together a lot of those times, and it's it can be tough when people move on to the next step in their life, but that's what happens, and hopefully you're preparing them to do that. I'm like you, like I like when we win, and I want to prepare everybody to win as best as possible. But there's so many different guys who are pursuing so many different things on the team. So it's very rewarding for me to see them achieve their success at whatever level they're at. So it's always going to be exciting to win state championships and sectionals and have people run as All-Americans, and go to nationals and stuff like that. Um, but it's sometimes just as exciting when, a guy breaks 5 when they're a senior, like Parker did last spring,
Yeah.
in his last meet of the year, or the, the goofy antics that Joseph would do. And,
Yeah.
end up running the time he wanted by the end of the year, is very rewarding
Yeah.
most of the time. So yeah, I think that's about it. But the relationships are definitely the best thing for me. I love getting to know these guys and see them grow up.
Yeah. I do treasure our relationship as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're somebody who we've always had I've had a good connection with. And I mean, last summer you lived here for a week with the dog when we were out of town, and
Yeah.
we'd only owned the house for a month, so you didn't burn the new house down. And
That was close.
yeah, you did a good job with that. So yeah, you've earned my trust over the years to at least take care of our dog in our house for a week.
Not most people could say that.
No, that's true. That's true. You're in a very small class there.
You're in a small class.
Thanks. All right. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, and keep up with your routine, and keep working hard, and hopefully we can get together soon.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
You got it, bud. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.